Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to introduce you to a very cool initiative called AYA, which is an open science project developed, maintained by Cohere for AI, which is a research lab that works in the field of artificial intelligence and machine learning. Let's start with a definition of what is AYA. So AYA is an open science project, as I said at the beginning. An open science project, it's very similar to open source. You might already be familiar with the term open source. And open science means that it is a scientific initiative where every one of us, literally everybody, can contribute to. What is AYA doing in particular is that they are developing a state-of-the-art, so a very high performing multi-language generative language model. So if you've already played with tools in the space of generative AI, large language models, that's what AYA is. It's a multi-language model, meaning that it can handle multiple languages. And as I said, it's developed by Cohere for AI, which is a non-profit research lab where as I said, scientists, researchers, professionals from academia, industry, they just all belong to this Cohere for AI, but you too can be part of AYA and contribute to the development of this model. Okay? Now, why does this initiative exist? Why does AYA needs to collect the wisdom and the experience of people like you and me to develop and improve such an existing model? Now, the main issue with that, the main reason behind AYA is that large language models, models you've already played with, and AYA itself, in theory, would often learn from data sets. So, what is called corpora of texts, which are which live on the internet, right? So Wikipedia is a common example, but the main thing is that 65% of the language on the internet is actually in English. Now, we can almost say that English is the universal language for the internet, but the problem is, in real life, the languages we speak at home are very rarely English. Actually, it's estimated to be around 5%. So only 5% of the population would speak English at home. That doesn't mean that only 5% of the population speak English, because I'm not an English speaker, but I'm speaking English to you at the moment. But when I come back home, I'm not going to talk to my parents, to my friends, to my relatives in English, right? And so when you have this divide between what the model is trained on, which is mostly English, and what we normally speak, which is not English in most of our daily life situations, you may have a model which tends to be biased, which tends to be learning from a data set which is not really representative of real life, right? So you may have a lot of languages which are underrepresented in the way the model learns and operates. And the objective of AYA as an initiative is to make sure that all languages we speak, or most of the languages we speak, are fairly represented in the data sets the model is learning from. And so that's why you and I can contribute to make sure that our own languages are fairly represented, so that we can build a truly state-of-the-art model, multi-language generative large language model. How can and why you should contribute? So the why you should contribute to this, this is more like my reasons and my motives, but I would say, just bear in mind that this is complete volunteer work. It's non-profit, but I think there's three very cool reasons behind your potential contribution. As I said at the beginning, this is a proper scientific effort. So you can actually feel part of a true scientific initiative and contribute to it. Secondly, if you're curious about large language models, generative AI, natural language processing, artificial intelligence. All of this is going to be like the bread and butter of what Aya does. So I think, if you're curious about that, you're passionate about that, you want to learn more about that, this is a perfect opportunity for you to be in. And lastly, the Cohere for AI and particularly, the Aya project brings together a very, very diverse, intellectually stimulating network of people, right? So you're going to meet a lot of like-minded people who are passionate about the same topic you're passionate about. You can expand your professional network. So this is a very, very good opportunity to actually, meet new people. So why not? How to contribute to the initiative. I'm gonna go through a little demo in a few seconds, but let me highlight the key points. So there are two ways you can contribute to Aya. Number one, to the Aya model. Number one is that you can actually rate the model performance. And so saying, okay, well, Aya did well here, Aya did not do well there. And so you can just say, with respect to your own language, how much the model is doing well or not. And the second point is you can actually provide good examples or correct examples the model should learn from. Right? So you can actually contribute to your language by, feeding proper data, actual data, to the model itself. So that let's jump into a quick demo. Okay, this is the main page for you to contribute to the Aya project. There is a link to get started with the application. As I said, a quick explanation of how you can contribute. As we said, you can rate the performance of the model. You can contribute to your language by providing examples. A quick overview of Aya, and also a link at the bottom that will send you to the page of Cohere for AI. To get started, you will need, number one, an account on Discord. So you need to be registered and signed up to Discord. And you also need to be part of the Aya Discord server. You will find all the links in the description below. So when you hit get started, it will prompt you to register and sign up with your Aya account. You click authorize and you are in. You are now inside the application, the user interface for you to contribute to the Aya project. Quick overview of the UI. Now, you see we have two options to contribute. The one we already know, so rate model performance, contribute to language. And the layout is pretty much the same, is identical between the two options. You will have a section covering the prompt. What the prompt is, if you already use things like, ChatGPT, you already know what it is. But, the prompt is really the instructions, the questions, the task you request to the model. And then you have the completion, which is really what the model generated for you. It could be an answer, it could be like, just completing a text or something else, but it's really what the model has produced. One thing you see here is that, there's nothing in the text boxes. This is because the very first time you will log in into this application, you will not have any language assigned to your account. So what you need to do, you need to click here, click on settings, and select your own language you want to contribute to. You can select more than one languages. In this case, we're just going to use English because we're just doing a test. But again, remember that what Aya should be about is to make sure that other languages are fairly represented. So any language other than English, should be in this list, right? But just for the sake of showing you how it works, we're going to select English, and now you start to see some text, right? So let's just have a quick look at this. What you see here is a prompt, and we're just going to read it. So it says, generate a more complex version of this sentence. Seems we're missing some punctuations here, but it says persons with parental responsibility should also be consulted, and if they object, the child, unless they're over 16 years old, cannot be accommodated under Section 20 of this Act. And then we have a completion that says, of course, A more complex version of this sentence is persons with parental responsibility should also be consulted, and if they object, the child, unless they're over 16 years old, cannot be accommodated under Section 20 of this Act. The parent can also remove the child from the accommodation provided at any time. Okay, so one thing we had to look out for in the prompt to give it a thumb up, right, is should have correct grammar, reasonable length, which typically means a couple of paragraphs, and clear instructions. So in this case, the instruction is to generate a more complex version of this sentence. But when it comes to grammar, we can see we don't really have like any punctuation. So there's nothing really, boxing the sentence, which starts from person until act. We have extra spaces between punctuations. So, it's not really a great example the model should learn from. So we're going to give it a thumb down. And if we look at the completion, it looks to me that actually the complex version of the sentence is not really that complex because most of the sentence is identical to what we had before with the same error. So it's almost like a copy and paste. So I'm going to give it a thumb down as well. Now, when you do this, you can also do some, you can see you now have entered edit mode, which means you can do some extra stuff. You can actually stop here and say, look, thumb down on both prompt and completion. They were not a good examples the model should learn from. But you can actually edit directly, okay, the prompt and the completion. So you can start adding punctuation here, and you can probably write a sentence which is truly answering to what the prompt was, which is a more complex version of this sentence. However, when it comes to writing content, you may not be an expert on the topic that we're talking about. And in this case, also being a known native speaker, I'm not really sure what I'm talking about here. So I'm just going to submit the entry and just leave it as it is. So the feedback, so the 2 thumbs down I give to the prompt and completion would be recorded, but I will not change anything else. Okay. And once you do this, there is another example, and you can keep going. So same thing as before. Okay. What's the gist of the gist of this dialogue? Blah blah blah. You can see again some punctuation. This is the gist of dialogue. Zainab is looking for Ranaya. She was last in the park, and so on and so forth. So this is the way it works. In terms of the other way you can contribute, if you click on contribute your language, you see now it's completely free text because it's up to you now to provide a good example of both the prompt and completion with the same requirements as before that the model should learn from. So, for example, you can say, what is the capital of Spain? Right? You can ask something like that, and the answer should be the capital of Spain is Madrid. Okay, and you can submit the entry, and you're good to go. Now, a couple of important things here. You will see there is a leaderboard with a list of the top contributors, daily, weekly, and overall. There will be competitions, there will be events, and so on and so forth. And even on the language, you can see your, where you stand in the overall. In this case, language. In this case, English, but you can choose any language and see where you position. So just to sum up, this is a very, very simple interface. We will also do events in the future where we'll also go through this in more detail. But, it's very, very simple to contribute. Choose your language. You can decide to rate the model performance or provide examples. And again, you can be number one in the list if you contribute a lot. Okay, you can find a few useful links to get you started. As I said, you need to have a Discord account. I also added the links to the Cohere for AI page, the AYA project page, so you can learn more about the project. Of course, you need to sign up to the AYA Discord server, and then you can start contributing by visiting the AYA app, which is what we just seen. Another good thing I want to mention here is that if you're passionate about large language models, generative AI, I highly recommend you to visit the Cohere Large Language Model University course, which is a free course that you can take. There will be a lot of videos you can learn from, and get yourself up to speed if you're not already. But it's not necessary. But if you're curious and you want to learn more about generative AI, a large language model, it's a great place to start. So thank you for listening to and watching this video. As I said, this initiative is extremely interesting. It's a good way for you to contribute to a scientific project, meet new people, learn more about generative AI, and make sure that your languages are fairly represented in a state-of-the-art multi-language generative model. Thank you.